Hi, Thomas. Welcome again to our another exciting session of this series. So I'm very excited to bring this new topic, and this is about the skills or challenges we as a project manager face now and then, and how can be more resilient and more ready for the future, upcoming future.
Right.
So, and it is very relevant to the current market, the way market is behaving, mass redundancies and things are happening. New projects are coming everywhere, different type of projects, new technologies appearing everywhere. But I think this is a good topic to talk about, and from various angles. And yeah, so we'll talking about this, and we'll go into detail. But thank you for coming again with your ideas and your thoughts, your experiences. It's always wonderful to listen from you and have this conversation. So welcome, Thomas. How are you today?
Thank you, Dharam. And actually, I'm pretty much fine sitting here in my office, my home office in Germany, and it's pretty cold outside. So I was outside a little bit today, but freezing, and so I don't like it. I like to sit here with you in my evening and talk about interesting stuff. And it's um, the most interesting stuff I find in this topic is talking about the future. And because so the next generation is taking over, but although they think about the future, and that's what we do as project managers, thinking about the future, because we have a target in the future, and we develop a plan how to get there in the future. So we are always dealing with the future. So we are the professionals to make the future likable, make it comfortable, so that we can live with that, and we can go into the future with a good feeling. In the end, what we're doing with our stakeholders, we want to provide them with psychological security, security about the future. And if the sponsor comes to me, I want to have this and that, and can you give it to me in 3 months? It's they are insecure. They don't, and then I promise I will deliver in 3 months. And then they are, if they trust me, they are happy. And how do they trust me? Well, if I deliver, and then the next time they come to me, you did it last time, and and that's going on. So that's our job, to make people comfortable about their future, because we know where they want to go. And let's say we pretend we know, and maybe we develop this with them together, that they understand what they really want, and then we develop a plan and a process how to get there. And maybe we have a life cycle, and maybe we do it agile with Scrum, or we do it otherwise. Nevertheless, it's always about making the future more likable.
So you and me went. We were in the same time machine. We went 10 years from now, and it was wonderful to see all this beautiful technology in that new in 2030 or 2040s. And so, and we need people who don't know, who have not traveled the time machine. We're going to talk about what skills we saw there and what will help them.
Well, it's I don't think that we have to develop many new skills. I think, as a project manager, we are providing psychological safety. So we are kind of dealing with people, with stakeholders, and engaging with them and make them secure. And that's our job today.
Yep.
It has been in the last 200 years, and it will be in 10 years. What maybe is changing is the technical context and environment. So we have this digital transformation that's ongoing since 30 years.
Yep.
And a company might have a digital transformation program, and then they go on a journey, and they have this and that. But to be honest, it started with computers coming on, with personal computing. People saw a PC, they could do an Excel sheet there, and then they started to digitize their life. And that's going on. So some companies are there, some are very good, and some lag behind. So the point is here, because we're talking about future skills, you have to be open to learn the new things,
Exactly.
You have to jump on something and at least be interested and learn about new technologies, new ideas. And that's an attitude you have. It's not really, it depends what skill you will need to develop. So I always did try to be at the forefront, an early adopter, if you like. This helps a lot, this attitude. If you are a late adopter, if you only want to play it safe and only use something after it's really established and mainstream, you might be too late. Yeah, and you might not be able to help people to develop their targets, in the future. So that's something which is an attitude. Be an early adopter, think ahead, and just be courageous enough to try something. And maybe you fail, but then you also learn something, or you succeed, then you are at the forefront. So I was, as example, I was the first IBMer in Germany getting the PMP in '98, and PMP was pretty much popular in the US then, and but I think I was PMP number 6,900 globally.
Oh, okay.
And the first one at IBM Germany. So there were some German PMPs already, but not so many. I don't remember. I recall. And that's one of the things, And even after I retired, I was one of the first getting the PgMP. After retirement, I couldn't. So it was not an investment in my future career because it somehow stopped, but it was an investment in my own interest, in my own curiosity.
But I think now you are into already retirement. Then why don't you do PfMP as well? Anyway, I'm coming to Germany, so one of the class in Frankfurt. You can be there, right? Dharam, let me also get my PfMP. I will show the world that I can still do my PfMP in the shortest possible time.
I can tell you why. Because, when you are young, you are more in the mood of a hunter-gatherer. You are gathering certifications. And I know some people have all certifications from PMI and some more. And you are hunting for success. You're trying to win. But as you get older, as I am now, you are more somebody who is nurturing a garden, and it's small blossoming coming up, and next year it will be a big plant. So regarding the portfolio management certification, I thought about it. I read the standard, and I also did practically implement portfolio management for companies. And I think the standard is not practical. So I refrained from certifying myself according to this standard.
Okay. Let's not worry about the standard of PfMP. It's good to have all the certificate and, whatever is applicable to you and is going to help you in your current or future
exactly
jobs. You should look into what is going to add. It's going to add value to me, or now or in the future. And I'll see people come, Dharam, I'm into Agile. Should I do, PgMP, PfMP? So look, if you want to stay with Agile, then stick with the Agile related certificate. But if you want to grow out of Agile and get into the strategic roles, then, do the PgMP or PfMP, which help you to take yourself from where you are to the strategic roles, general manager or CEO, C-level positions. So that's where you would. So you need to see where is my, what I see in what I can see in next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what skills I have, what do I need to develop so that I can be ready for the near future.
Yeah.
I'll give you one example. And I was talking to this guy. He's also my good friend. And I'm also doing some podcasts with him. His name is Justin. Justin came to me last year. And last year, he already did PMP. He already did RMP and ACP. And he wanted to do PgMP and then PfMP. He has a roadmap. And then he said, next year I will do MBA. then and I will get into some C-level position. So that's what I like this the structure he has built around him, and he's actually following that. So he completed the P3 certificate, then he did PgMP with me, and then PfMP with me. All happened very, very fast, you know. And he's one of the most busiest person I've ever seen. But because he has vision, that this is my vision, future to be, I'm going to be some C-level person. But to achieve that, to reach that point, I need to do this. I need to do MBA. I need to do some PgMP, PfMP, or this certificate, or I need to build other skills which I need to be, you know, the soft skills or emotional intelligence. That's what the project manager or current project manager or program manager, they looking toward future. That's what they have to see, my roadmap, and then keep doing. Take your steps as you build your plan.
Yeah, that's correct. And you know, if you look at my plan, as I told you, I was not targeting after retirement a lot of certifications, this kind of stuff. So maybe 30 years ago, if they would have been there, maybe I would have pursued that. When I became older, you know, I really switched looking at the talent triangle of PMI, you know, from this technical project management corner, which they now call ways of working, to what they call leadership corner, you know. Today it's power skills. I don't like the term power skills, but nevertheless, it's the same skills, you know. It's your personal development that you can deal with other people better. And as I said before, you know, what is our job is to dealing with people and make them secure. You know, planning ahead and looking at the future, and when they have a problem solving. So I found out quite early that people management is important and develop myself all the time. But I really mostly switched. And if you look at my presentations, if you look at my LinkedIn articles, you know, you will see that most of them are about leadership development, you know, how to become a better person, ethics, what is really the value of ethics, wisdom, this kind of stuff, how you develop yourself to be a better human in the context of other humans, because we are all a member of many communities. You know, we are in the professional communities, maybe we are in the community of being a PgMP. Now we are 4,000 people globally. Nice. It's a small and exclusive community. You can be proud of it if you want, you know. As a PMP, you are part of a community of 1.3 million. Okay, it's also a value if you have such a big community. So not everybody can be a PMP even, you know. So looking at that, you know, I think as long as there are humans on the earth, you know, humans need help to collaborate, to achieve something for the future, to be not afraid about the future. And that's our job, you know, make it happen, help you reach your targets in the future. And that's the situation, you know, when the pharaohs in Egypt built the pyramids, exactly that. The pharaoh said, I want to have a grave like this, you know, and do it, make it happen. And then the project manager came and did it. And they had a way of working, and this was certainly not PMBOK at this time, you know, but they achieved it. And I know they also had trial and error, and they tried something, and they had a lot of people available, but they still had to feed them. So there is a lot of things around that pyramid, what you see today. And that's always what we did, you know, plan and achieve targets which were given from a sponsor, you know.
Yeah, look, when you talk about the past programs, whether it's a pyramid or, you know, Panama's canal, and I mean, there are many examples. You know, you can say they are. You know, now you look back, good work done. But if you look back, the first phase of the Panama Canal was a big disaster. They lost so many people in the whole process because of unplanned. Because the person who was building that, yes, he did a good job in the other part with
Egypt, in the Suez Canal.
Yeah, Suez Canal. He did a great job, but the same technology was not. We cannot apply it here in this Panama Canal. You need to see differently in different angle. So the skills may work in one organization, may not work in other organization because of their own complexity, own different situation, the stakeholder environment you have, political environment you have, or the mindset people have. You need to think differently in every organization. Every time you do different work.
That's a very important thing. That even if you have a template for how to do things, like he did for the Suez Canal very successfully, and as you say, he tried to apply the same technology to the Panama Canal, and he failed. But he failed because mainly because he was not considering the environment, which were a lot of pests and everything, and the guys just got sick. It was a wet climate and had malaria and all this stuff, and this was not the case in the dry area of Egypt, where you have desert around yourself, and it was also hot, but it was not really dangerous with the sicknesses that they had. So you make a plan, you have a scope, and you just not have the idea what's happening in the context, in the business. And then if you look at the talent triangle from PMI, where is that located? It's and actually it's in the business acumen. Do you know the context of where you are doing your project? And then you can look at the how, the ways of working, and still ask yourself, is that way of working that was correct in one context, business context, also correct in the other business context? And all the time you have to look to the people, that's your leadership. You have to be empathetic, to watch them and what's happening, and then you would have very early acknowledged that maybe the environment is not good to have so many people on the without protection, on that area.
So as part of the PgMP learning, one of the things we do, if you remember, the assessment, program assessment, and we looked at assessment from various angles, from communication point of view, change point of view, financial aspect, schedule aspect, scope aspect, environmental aspect, many factors we see. Why are we doing this? So that we can understand the doability of this program,
right,
or complexity within the program. So you can be more ready, more prepared with the potential risk. What do we do with risk? Are we ready with the risk? So as a project manager, program manager, you need to look for future. As you mentioned about the Panama Canal, if they have done enough study, they could have said, okay, the environment is wet. The more mosquitoes are here, different type of mosquitoes are here, the different working culture. So accordingly, you do the risk assessment differently, and you have a better plan. You say, okay, let's get started. No, we know this is wet condition, so we do some risk mitigation.
Right.
If it is a mosquitoes, maybe we have a mosquito repellent, or maybe something else. Where fire, they put fire and smoke is happening so that the mosquitoes are not impacted too much. So that's where the risk management, all the skills we learn from from PMBOK or whatever Prince 2 or whatever, they are talking about looking future and plan it now. What can go wrong? If we are ready now, you have planned. We have better chance of success, succeeding in that.
Yeah. Well, and you're being right. That's one of the differentiators between projects and programs. Projects try to keep the scope contained, and define it, and then just look at this. They have all the risk management, but it goes only so far, And in programs, you are looking more on the outside, on the environment, on the context. Where are you? And as you just told rightly, it's much a wider view. You need different perspectives, and you need to think ahead in different scenarios, so that you are not surprised by the challenges that come up suddenly and may kill you or the people or the project or the program.
Exactly. And I will suggest the audience, look at some of the examples, like Panama Canal. I was studying, reading, watching on YouTube as well. You can find some good videos there. So look at what And this is all about learning from your past, learning, lesson learned, what happened in that. And if you're doing the similar, let's say you're now building another canal, you're not going to do the same thing, same mistake, which somebody did in the past. So you are more prepared than the last. So watch those documentaries or read the case study about that. You will learn about, you will be better prepared for the risk management point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
So Thomas, I have a few questions. Let me ask. And the question is, how will the organization manage the pending departure of boomers from the workplace in the current scenario of global turbulence?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And it is the case, if we look at Germany, we have this problem of an aging population. Our average age is 47 years.
Ooh.
If you go to Nigeria, and I just had this, it's about 17 years.
Yeah.
So so the population is very old in Germany, and it's even more in Japan. So a lot of people are leaving their jobs right now, and I'm early retired. So we have a retirement age now of 67 in Germany, which has been extended from 65 some years ago. And now, by the way, the French are trying to move their retirement age from 62 to 64. But there are riots in demonstrations in France and strikes in France right now as we speak, because of that plan of their president, Macron. But, yeah, so these people are still there, and more and more, I don't have the number here, but maybe 2 million of these retired people continue to work in some capacity. They don't work in their roles they had before, because these were mostly full-time roles. They were in a hierarchy, and but they still have experience. They still have maybe the wisdom and the calmness to maybe coach people and mentor people. So that's one thing, and so they work part-time in non-critical positions, and they have no aspiration to have another career mostly. But yeah, maybe 2 million in Germany are doing this kind of jobs, and they are helping companies. But I could also think that some companies, have a special program to try to bring these guys more into full capacity, because they still have good experience in thinking maybe they don't have the power to work for 60 hours a week, but maybe it's okay if they work 2 days for half time, and they still can bring a benefit to the company. And that's what HR divisions are looking for. How can we utilize that by reducing our need for skilled workers? And that's a problem in Germany that's known, and that's why in Germany, we have a new law and a discussion to bring in workers with a green card into Germany and to fuel that growth that we have. So we did that in the past 70 years. We after the war, a lot of things had to be done. The Germans could handle themselves, and then at first we asked Italians to come, and it was not the North Italians, but the South Italians, so from Sicily and these areas, because they had a huge unemployment and not very industrialized. So they came up to Germany, and they were. First, they were not welcomed. They lived in a kind of ghettos, but now we have a pizza at every corner, and they are here, and it's almost 50 years ago then when it started. And then the Turkish people came, and these were not the Turkish people from Istanbul or Ankara. These were the Turkish people from the eastern areas, the rural areas, very religious and not very educated, and they came also here. And the jobs they had, were not very high skilled jobs. They didn't speak German first, most of them, and they got the jobs that no German wanted, and after 1990, we got the Polish. and the Poles came in, and a lot of workers in agriculture, they they are having a big industry for asparagus in Germany. In April, May, June, so they have asparagus time, and they need a lot of people who manually harvest the asparagus, which is not so easy to do. And these are Poles. No German would be willing to do that.
Thomas, yeah. So we can talk about the immigration and other thing, and that's actually when the boomers or the people are leaving the organization, and that actually are about to leave. That actually bring opportunity to the new joinees or people into the early stage of their life to learn from those people as well. The HR should bring them together somehow. They can bring a plan, program. Hey guys, you have next 4-5 years you will be leaving, and these people are starting. Maybe knowledge sharing, job sharing, working together. You have wisdom, and they have energy. You use your
right.
That kind of thing. I can see an example here. Like one person is blind, second person is handicapped. Not have legs. Individually they cannot work because blind person cannot see things and the other person cannot walk. So maybe they can become friends, and the blind person can be sitting on the head of I'm just making up head of this the person who can see one way or the other. The person doesn't have legs and sit on that, then you can direct the person, and you have a synergy with the young people, with the who are learning, who are hungry to learn, from the people who have done the job and they know how to do things, and marry together, and then they can do the job better.
Yeah, well, that's not happening too much in Germany, as I know. And to give an example, we had during Corona, all the airlines, Lufthansa in Germany, they really laid off people, and now last year, as flights boomed, they had big problem in accommodating all these flights, in security, in people on the ground, but also on the plane. So they had a problem here. So we are still, most companies are still not planning ahead for 5 years for that, and so they are laying off people, and then they are trying to hire, and then the people have another job, and it's a big problem in this economy when you have targets for a quarter or a month or a year. You cannot. Most companies think they cannot afford to keep the people, and then they are somehow surprised when the bad stories come, when the people are gone and they don't get somebody on the market. So that's the situation in Germany right now.
Yeah. So as we speak, and we know that the companies like Microsoft, they announced 10,000 people, and Amazon, they announced something, and Facebook. So everywhere mass redundancy is coming. There are a lot of project managers, program managers. Some people are technical, highly technical. And actually, I was reading yesterday on LinkedIn. I happened to last night before I went to bed. I just look at some of the stories. Out of 10 stories, 6 stories are coming from Microsoft. Hey, I worked for Microsoft for 21 years, and I started with them, and I learned so much, blah blah blah. In the end, I have to look for a job. I'm highly skilled, this and that. So the person is there, but they don't recognize. You are 21 year or high performer or something. They let go. But some of the things, you need to be better prepared. Whether you are about to lose your job, or you lost your job, one thing is they should be doing, can I be better prepared for future? Sure. By, of course, doing some courses, some degrees or certificates, of course, investment, you need to put some investment. But it's some simple certificate, like, PMP, if you've never done PMP, do the PMP before it happened. Or PG, if you already project PMP, do PgMP or PfMP. So you're better prepared for upcoming future. Microsoft may not recognize you, but you never know. Maybe NASA can hire you because of your skills and your. So
definitely. So and I think it comes back to making yourself more resilient.
Yeah, more resilient.
And and resilience structural wise, there's one paper talking about resilience and how do I make myself more resilient? And it's by not only having one capability, make sure you are diverse in your capabilities, what you can do. And so if you are working for Microsoft, you might be very specialized for your job. But if you have the certificates, you're right, you are maybe attractive also for other jobs in other companies.
Yeah.
But if you're only the Microsoft engineer, so maybe that's not enough. You always should have a range of skills for your work, and then you are more able to get a new work. If the one thing fails, you get the other. Second thing is, not everything in one basket. Try to have several baskets, and make it distinguishable. So it's the structural thing is be modular in what you can do. And you certainly have a driver's license, so you could do a taxi driver, a Uber driver, whatever, And some people are doing that because they are falling back to their what can I do? What is my ability? And they become a taxi driver. But they maybe may have been a doctor before, So it's if you have different capabilities, you are more resilient to find a new job and to earn your living, though it's maybe you have a preferred one, but okay. Yeah. So modular, diverse, and interchange, redundant, have redundant capabilities. So if one piece fails, maybe you have another way. So for example, if you are an agile scrum master, and you want to stay in the project management field, redundancy would be if you also can do a waterfall project, if you know about how are the phases and how to do that. And so if you have not only one way to look at things, but you have different ways to look at things, and you are more employable, and you have also more choices. If you only do one thing, you stick with one job and with one certification and with one concept, you run a danger. You are not resilient.
Yeah, I mean, I see this, and everybody can relate with that. Life is not straight line. It's not straight line. It's like a wave. If you know the physics, or even waves, is anybody knows that the waves go up. You have high time, then you have low time. High time, low time. This is how we continue life. Sometimes when we are in a high time, we touch anything, become gold, and touch anything, become gold. And when you're in the low time, when anything you do is fail. You do anything, fail. And you need to recognize as a project manager or whatever, whether it's a high time, okay, great. Let me, I should not be overexcited, but let me enjoy whatever it is. But when the low time is very important to say, okay, you know what, this is not my best time, but let me come out of this. Let me make myself more resilient. And, believe it or not, when you're low time, you need to see more. Don't get, go into the net downward spiral. You start feeling, okay, my life, I don't know anything. I have no skills. Nobody likes me. I am applying for hundreds of jobs. Nobody respond back. So you start going downward, and start believing that you are worthless. You have no attitude, nothing in your life. That's where the depressions are. You need to recognize that, hey guys, okay, I'm in this position. What else can I do to make myself more employable?
Correct. And telling you about my life, what I think, first thing is, in the beginning, I said, I'm always forward looking. I'm an early adopter. And that's when, I became the first PMP of IBM in Germany. So it helped me on the job. I didn't plan for that, but being an early adopter, I had a capability nobody else had at this point, or only a few after 2 or 3 years. So this helped me to have a modular thing I didn't need for my job at this time when I got it, but it was very helpful to build a reputation, to help others, and to do other. The other thing is, in my life, I also built a redundant capability in becoming a volunteer for PMI. and this was in the volunteering. I always regarded that as a kind of sandbox, to try out things I wouldn't be allowed or dare to try out in business, So here I could develop a chapter, I could develop a newsletter, talk to people, sponsor money, whatever you have, which was not a part of my job at IBM. So I developed a second but related capability. And this is the modular thing, and this is a diverse thing. If you have different balls to put into the air, you are better equipped if you just try to do that one thing,
Yeah. So Thomas, my next question is, how do future project managers adapt to the flow of today's technological culture in their organization?
Yeah, so I think, if you're talking about the flow of today's technological culture, it's a point of digitalization, what we see, everything,
Digital transformation everywhere.
Getting more digital. But don't be limited to the digital thing, there are more things coming up, genetic and engineering, environmental technology. It's not all digital. So if you talk about that modular and diverse capabilities, also have a look what's going on the other thing. So what I'm a member of and I benefit a lot of is the Singularity University from San Francisco, and you can sign up. They have a web page, everything, and they have newsletters talking about future technologies. And if you're interested, again, in to be an early adopter, maybe if you see 10 of their statements and ideas and scenarios in the future, maybe 9 of them are not really attractive to you, but maybe one you want to read more and learn more, and maybe you grab it. Yeah? So that's what I'm doing, looking into people who are dealing with the future. We're trying to invent and to see something, and most of these go nowhere, but some go somewhere. And then you have it, if you are an early adopter. So, give you another example. So I have this ring, it's the Oura ring, and I was an early adopter. So I read it somewhere, and I saw it's nice. And now it's I have it for several years now, and it's helping me a lot to monitor my health. And it's just a ring. It's not an Apple Watch or so, and a ring is much more convenient. At some time, we will have a chip somewhere and doing the same stuff. Yeah. But monitoring your health helps you to have more perspectives, maybe an early warning, and that helps a lot. Be diverse. So I'm an IT guy. I worked for IBM. Why should I care about my health monitoring? Well, everybody should.
Exactly. So as a project manager, we should look around, go to the conferences, go to the, the chapter meetings, PMI chapter meetings, or read magazine, read, books, LinkedIn post, and YouTube channel we have, you should come and watch these YouTube channels to learn what is happening and what is coming, which new technology I should be investing into. Because sometime back they were talking about data science, and now it become very, very important. Or many other AWS. If look at that, if, as you said, try to be early adopter so that you're ahead of game. You should not look back. Hey, I wish I should have done the training long time back, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Then my life would have been different. Yes, you should have taken the decision at the time. And your colleagues who took are training, and they are expert in AWS, or they are now PgMP, or they're now PfMP, they're now becoming managing director because of they did something. So you need to do something so that you are whatever you're doing today is you're building a future.
Yeah, right. Give you two other examples. Just recently, I became a member of the PMI Nigeria chapter. Why?
Oh. Okay.
And because I saw they are very ahead and early adopter. So they are the only chapter I know that is managing their communications through a Telegram channel.
Oh, wow,
You know,
okay.
I know WhatsApp groups and I know web pages and I know emails and whatever, but now you have a chapter who is managing their member communication through its Telegram channel. Very interesting. And the second thing is, just today I saw a Facebook post from the German government, and they said we are now on Instagram. So, you know, these guys in business with certain, they are trying to diversify themselves, you know,
Exactly.
trying new stuff, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but at least try it.
Yeah, so look around. So whatever is new technology, new things coming, follow that. My next question is around soft skill. What are the soft project management skills required by next generation of project managers?
Well, the same as today. You have to look at the emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
the leadership skills, and I think what might become a little bit more important is skills about ethics, about values, about integrity. You know, we tend to have getting out of the economy. You know, this is not very ethical environment. So we have this um, uh, ESG and other terms where we should be more sustainable as companies. But you know, are companies really ethical? I don't think so much. You know, but for project managers, the soft skills include ethical understanding and developing yourself into a to build an integrity, you know, to know why you're doing stuff, and to base it on some good practices, virtues, if you want, you know. And you can go back to the old Greek, so Aristotle, you know, he was talking about leadership and good people and virtues. And how do you get there? So you have to really start thinking about it, start reading about it, and making up your own mind what your values are, you know. And if you just say I have values, but I don't know what they are, you know, then you are not ethical, you know. And you might have signed the PMI ethics code, yeah, but it's just maybe another law for you, another signature to do something. No, you know, I worked as a volunteer 6 years in the PMI Ethics Review Committee, and this helped me a lot to get a mindset around the importance of ethical behavior and developing yourself individually into an ethical person.
Yeah. So some of the skills like people skills, we all know, you know, has to be important because you are dealing with working with people.
Right.
Your leadership skills are important. You need to, you know, build your skills around leadership and taking this. You basically servant leadership, basically.
And you asked about the soft skills, you know, and that's leadership and dealing with people. And you know, if you deal with machines and processes, you still have the hard skills, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, my next question is: how can millennials bring change to future project management?
Oh yeah. First, I think they have to understand agile is not a concept for project management, you know. Project management, as we discussed before, is about make it happen, you know. People come to you because they have a problem, they look into the future, are afraid of it, and that's it, you know, that you help them to not be afraid of the future, but trust in you that you can make the future happen as they like it, you know. So make it happen means you have somebody who comes to you who is a sponsor. You know, you have a vision, a target. You can take action, and maybe most importantly, you can achieve results. You know, so these are the four components of project management in the past, in the future. It's a sponsor, a vision, action, results. And then you develop your own capabilities to do that, you know. And maybe you are not good in taking action. And then maybe you recognize you are not enough decisive,
Yeah.
You are trying to get too much information, and then you don't get more secure with too much information. But you have to develop a kind of heuristics and a kind of gut feeling how to decide stuff, and that's what I did in life. So decisiveness is very important, and for results you have to take a risk, because maybe you have an idea where to get, but maybe you're the Pareto rule, you're only 80% there, and maybe that's enough, but you have to take that risk. There's a 20% you can skip for the moment and maybe do it later, or skip it at all. So this is project management, as I understand it, and as I did it for almost 40 years, and as I think it will be done by millennials. But the problem is with millennials, they come into the job and they should become a project manager and do something, and then they get a ways of working and say, okay, do Scrum. Well, Scrum doesn't help you to get this mindset of make it happen.
I mean, in a way, they do that. Like at the end of the day, you're building a product and you're taking piece by piece towards that direction. Whether using Scrum or waterfall or hybrid, in my opinion, you pretty much use the same skill, but a little bit different as well. But the millennials, when they're coming from university, they started a job, they got excitement, they're full of energy, and if you don't utilize them, their excitement and energy into the project management, you kind of lose their attention. And sooner or later, they lose your focus in the project. I don't care. I don't want to be project manager. So you channel that energy so that they can learn to do the projects even more effectively with more energy and make it possible, make it happen. And
make it happen, yeah. And I just see the danger, because to get agile certifications, it's quite easy. You have 2 days class and you have a test, and then you have some practice. So they could think, now I'm a project manager because I have this certification of a Scrum Master. No, you're not. Project management mindset is not achievable by certifications. It's maybe PMP is the best way to help to get it, but it is achievable only by practice, by going into the field, having a customer, a sponsor asking for something, and then doing everything that comes to your mind to help it make it happen. And then you're looking, okay, what do I need in skills and capabilities to be better next time? We will find out an important stuff is stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder management, communication, it's very important. Important stuff is to challenge your sponsor, and these are the stuff you need to develop, and it's not really what you can learn in a 2-day class.
Yeah. So if I'm looking from millennials' point of view, and I'm seeing my kids are growing up and I'm that age, if they want to take up a project management role, they actually can be more engaging, and of course they're more risk takers compared to for us, because we have learned in different way of doing things. But they think, okay, you know what, I have to make this happen, I need to do this thing. They are more structured. And of course, the millennium, you need to be, you need to know some basics of a project management, but utilize your learning, the style or energy, and get the stakeholder engaged, and identify the risk, and you make it possible, make it happen. So that's what we are talking about.
Yeah. Well, I'm mentoring some of them, to go into that career. And what I found, what's most important is to help them develop their own personality and their own emotional intelligence, so self-awareness and self-control. Self-control, I just today had a discussion with one of them, to understand why you are feeling bad or angry or whatever, and to try to understand the trigger, what makes you feeling angry, and then next time think about it. Do I want to be angry? Answer is 34 no. So just stop it. It's easy said, but this is the discussions I'm having with them. So it's not about um, life cycles and ways of working. It's really about developing yourself into somebody who can be in this sometimes stressful environment, who can be wise enough to stay stable and listen and see what is the best way. And there is always a solution. I found in my life, always a solution.
Yeah, good thought. Thank you for sharing. And if I'm going to ask another question. Which model will have upper hand, role-based versus title-based management on the corporate ladder in the future?
I would assume it's role-based because, the jobs will become more, let's say, 2 or 3 years at most, and then you will have the next one because yeah, technology is changing quite quickly, and the other environments are changing quite quickly. And the problem with the Microsoft guys who were fired, is also if the guys say I was at Microsoft for 20 years, so they were in a title-based management, in a career path.
Yeah.
And it's not bad if you are there, but I think this will go down in numbers, and most people will be role-based. And then what is important is not your career path and your title, but the important is your reputation and and your achievements you can show from previous engagements.
Exactly. So now you rightly said, so technology title-based, initially previous times when we talk about I am a general manager, I'm the director, those days are gone. Role-based, you make it possible, make it happen. That's what it is, You take the leadership in your role, whatever role you're doing, do it the best, and recognized by the organization, and you may get salary, right, bonuses, whatever it is. So,
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you another question. How to identify inherent weakness as a project manager? And will technology aid in identifying employees' weakness in the future?
Yes. I think AIs will have a lot to judge people. It's already there. If you look at China, there are big examples where AI and supervision is helping to judge people. There's a social how's it called? Social account where you can have points, but it's also here in the Western world. If your financial stableness is being judged by systems, and they ask if you want to have a credit or buy a house or whatever. So you have to. This is done already. We are watched, and we are, and we are somehow judged by algorithms. And it's technology, and so it's there. It's part of the digitalization transformation of our society. And yes, so if you have weaknesses, and what's the weakness? That's a problem. If the weakness is not defined in the algorithm, it will not identify it. So if the algorithm has a blind spot on this area, it will not identify it. But on the other hand, a weakness, depending on situation, can be a strength. Sometimes, if you go into a black room, it's a strength if you are blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you are accustomed to not seeing anything, and then you can go around. You're not afraid. You have the capabilities. So I think weakness might be just another term of the diverse discussion. So do we need diversity? Then we have to have people who are weak in one area, one are strong. So we have different people, and I think diversity is good. It helped me a lot. So I have my weaknesses in some areas, but I have my strengths in other areas. And so I can select per situation how I fit in. And I would never do certain things. I would never assume to become an Olympic champion in swimming. No, that's my weakness. But
Yeah,
maybe I can become a coach of a CEO.
yeah, exactly. So look, as a project manager, one thing is, of course, you need to analyze what skills are required and what skills are still missing, and whatever missing, list it down, and how can I grow? Identify, do a gap analysis. What do I have to do to overcome this weakness? So let's say you're great in managing people, but you're not good in financials. That applies to me as well. So what can I do? To learn the concept around the financial side, and talk to somebody who knows better. Or if you cannot, if you do not have the skills, maybe offload that responsibility to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, the other thing to deal with weaknesses, yeah, you can identify your gaps and try to fill it. So regarding your financial weakness, let's say, maybe you select a wife which is good at at financials, and then a partner. Let me put it uh, so we are social animals anyhow. So if you have a weakness, and then you maybe hire the best guy who can fill that weakness spot, and then you are synergizing, because you are a diverse team, and this team achieves something, not you personally. That's right. So what your personal weakness means is that maybe you try to become resilient, but it doesn't mean that you wipe out every weakness in the sport you have. It means, as we said before, be modular and be diverse. Again, you have a driver's license, you can write IT programs, and you can do this and that. This is diverse, But if you just work on your driver's license to become a better driver and to know more streets in San Francisco automatically, then maybe that's a wrong waste of your efforts,
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. My other question is, rather than addressing the challenges, how to deal with challenges that will unfold for the next generation of project managers?
Well, how will we deal with the challenges? And like always, we will observe what's happening. So is it a challenge? It's only a challenge or a problem if you don't know what to do. And that's the definition somebody made of a problem. No, a problem is when we don't know what to do.
Yep.
A challenge is if we are afraid of something, of consequences. So every challenge, and that's true, I think, is also an opportunity. So you have to remove the judgment of being bad to the
Yep.
situation, and you have to make sure that you maybe get more information, and then try to make the best out of it. Have a positive mindset. The glass is half full all the time, and if you go with this positive mindset, most challenges will vanish, or they will turn around and become positive for you, and that's the point. So challenges will unfold. That's life, life. People in Pompeii, they suddenly saw the volcano is spitting something, and that was a challenge for them, and they dealt with it somehow. Some ran away early enough, and some just said, okay, it will not be so bad as it looks. But it became worse, So they are dead now. So that's also Darwin's law,
Yeah, so challenges, life comes with challenges. Project managers deal with different type of challenges, whether stakeholder challenges or some environmental challenges, or your competitors bringing their own product or service in the market. So you need to keep an eye, recognize them as early as possible. That's what the risk management is all about. It's about to happen, so you know it. Okay, I knew about this. My competitor may come with a better product and better pricing than mine. So what did I do? So looking for in future, recognizes that the potential problem or challenges early enough, and be prepared for them. Have a mitigation, have a plan A, plan B, plan C. That's what it is. Whether now or future is all, whether we're talking today or in 10 years time or 21, this skill cannot go away. You have to see in future what can go wrong. Am I ready to deal with this situation if this happens again?
Yeah, well, look at again, how you judge by yourself the event of that could become a challenge. Look at Kodak. Kodak, they invented the digital film, but they made a lot of profits out of the physical film.
Yeah.
So they put it in the corner. So this is something that they thought, okay, we want to preserve our profits and revenues from the normal film, and then they dig their own grave with that, because someone else took up the challenge, or Uber with taxis or whatever. A lot of examples, and it's always the same, that you think of something as a threat, as a challenge, something bad, and you don't try to turn it around to your and adapt to it. Maybe you have to change in yourself to do something, and as Kodak should have, and they should have jumped that bandwagon and changed. That is something I learned from my old employer, IBM, and IBM changed every year something, to just have a culture of permanent change. So that people are not, if a big change is coming, and it came maybe every 3 or 4 years, then the people are not really against it. They are saying, okay, another change, let's do it. And this attitude has to be there. Don't stick with your past, but be an early adopter, take a risk, be positive, and everything that comes around the corner is positive. So if you have a saber-toothed tiger coming around out of the bush as a guy, maybe you say, oh no, I will be eaten. Oh, maybe you have a spear and you kill it, and you eat him.
Yeah. All right. So my another question for you: what factor plays a role in poor project performance? So the question is, what factors play a role in poor project management performance, and how to address it in the future?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of research, and we talk about scope and scope creep and whatever. I think there are some key things. So first is a sponsorship. Is somebody here who asked me to do the project, and is he supportive of it? Does he mean it sincerely? And is he able to support the thing? Because it's a partnership. A sponsor or a customer is a partner of the project manager. If he's not a partner, forget about it. That's one thing. Yeah, and we have it in our surveys when they say, oh, lack of management support or whatever. The second thing is teamwork. It's very important to build a team that has all the capabilities needed. Talk about diversity again. You have to find out what you need and how they fit together, and then you develop the team in that that synergy can arise. So the team or the system is more than just the parts put together. They have to discuss and communicate and be there. So these are, I think, very important things. And yeah, for yourself, be positive, as I said, be proactive, try it out, and give the team, give the sponsor, give everybody a positive view of the future, and though they have trust in you. So trust is important. So I saw many projects, and if they were successful, they always had the project hero, project manager hero, the one guy who made it happen. And so a similar project around the corner without that guy, with the same tools and techniques and time and scope, similar scope, it failed. It failed because this was not the positive project manager guy, and it's not about the skills he have and the certificates. It's about his attitude. Make it happen, and I'm in charge, and be ethical and bring security to all the humans around you.
Yeah, I mean, there are many things. I can actually give example when I was working for bank, and we are doing this anti-money laundering project for two different banks. The merger happened, So I was responsible for one bank, another person was responsible for another bank. And, we are sitting next to each other. We're running the show in similar complexity. But, when I was hired for the project, it was red. It was red because there were no project manager, program manager for that. Anyway, so I took different approach than him. And my team was sitting in many countries, many cities. So one is I want to build my relationship with my stakeholders and talk to them, identify who they are, what role they play, and how we're going to communicate and so and so. And then, keep an eye on what they're performing, giving right tasks. So when the both projects going live same day, and so they had a big war room, and they are probably having 50 people in the room, even the head of departments and the project manager and every technical person was sitting there. And just outside of the room, I was sitting alone myself, and I'm looking my internet, I'm looking this, and I'm calling people one by one. Hey, how things going? All going under control. Everything like a dream. So I was comparing this. Why this project is having so much cry, and people are jumping up and down whole night. They're working. Still a lot of problem happens. Versus my project, which was like a very smooth. I'm calling, everything happened one time, finished. So one of the problem was, the underestimating the complexity sometimes. Hey, I'm a project manager, I can do it, but without recognizing what can go wrong, if you recognize that early enough, you can take action on that. So, you need to be proactive. You need to build your relationship with the stakeholders. Your stakeholder means it's not only your senior managers, directors, all important, but your team, the people who are going to do the job for you. They're also your stakeholder. You build relationship with them. Build your, they have trust in you, and you can trust them as well.
Yeah.
And that is very important, whether you're talking today or future, to improve or avoid the poor performance of a project.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a good theme with complexity, because complexity also, some say a system is complex and it's technical and whatever. But on the other hand, complexity is always a perception. If you look at my smartphone, this is not complex for me. I can handle it. But if I gave it to my grandmother, she's dead, but it would be unimaginable, complex. Yeah. No way she could handle it. So complexity is always here, and one of the tasks of the project manager is to reduce complexity for the people in the project. If you have a complex system, maybe the team will be confused, and they don't understand it, and then they will not work well. But if you can simplify it for them, only show them a part or structure it a different way, then they will say, okay, that's simple. Yeah, I can do that, and they will do it. And they will love you because you made life so nice for them.
Actually, that's very important point you mentioned. That the way you create, the perception of this thing. I'll give you one example. I don't know where this example coming from, but they want to do one experiment. Okay, the same class, the 30 people, 15 people in one class, they separate them, and they give the same problem, mathematical problem, to both sections. Now, one section, they said, this is one of the most difficult problems. Not even your seniors can handle this. I've not seen any, I saw, this person has tried to solve it, and somehow he managed to solve. So, very difficult problem. And in that class, only, one or two people were able to solve it. But the same problem given to the other section, they said, what, this is one of the simple problem we're giving you, and even your juniors can easily handle this. And it's very simple, the perception created that this is simple. Now, guess what? Only one or two people were not able to solve, but the rest of the class were able to solve. The way we create picture in the mind, perception.
Exactly. And that's why project vision is so important, because you exactly post something on the wall, which is into their head, into their minds, with a filter how they perceive reality. And a vision should be very simple, a statement or whatever, and which creates a kind of internal view of the world perception.
Exactly. So as a project manager, one thing you should do, create a vision. We create a vision board, and this is how it's going to look like. The project when finished, this is how it's going to look like digital transformation, everything moving, everything automated, and I can see the reports, this and that. Then people can see that, oh my God, I'm playing an important role to make it happen. Yeah.
And that's also the main function of a Kanban board, or any visualization of a project status or something, of war room, have the walls plastered with something, and it gives you the vision of that project,
All right, great. Thank you very much, Thomas. It was lovely talking with you. Thank you for taking my question, and you have answered them, based on your experience. And of course, our experience in the time machine, we travel 10 years, 15 years ahead of time, look back. This is how we should tell our friends now in 2023, so that they can ready with 2020, 2033 or 3043 or something. Anyway.
Yeah, so, thanks, Dharam, for organizing these, and for you listeners out there, feel free to contact us and to discuss with us and go further, develop yourself.
Great stuff. Yeah. So any question, anything you like to ask or anything, any support I can provide or Thomas can provide, please reach out to us and we will be very, very happy to support you. All right. So thank you guys. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.